This is Nova, and welcome to a newbie guide on how to play and whether you should buy Nova, the ranged assassin. So I'm going to start from basically from scratch, from level 1, and take her through through a leveling process, and also, oh hello, there's some people here already, and basically show you if she's worth playing and if you may want to buy her or not. She's actually quite expensive at 10,000 gold. Oh hello, a new Barak is chasing me. I need to get rid of him. And basically I can choose my first talent, and my first talent is going to be in between these 4 choices. There's an increase in mana regeneration, which is actually quite useful for her because she does have a tendency to run out of mana due to usage of a lot of skills. There's this skill right that increases the range of your snipe skill, which is this, and so basically it's your main attack skill that eventually becomes sort of an AoE skill because it does get a penetration of a type. And there is another skill right here that increases damage of snipe, which is actually what I'm gonna take, I think. And finally there is taser rounds, which is basically, it increases duration of pinning shot, which is this right here. It's a slow skill. Now it's not as useful, unfortunately, at least that's what I think. So I'm gonna take snipe damage increase, because once it gets penetration, it actually becomes quite powerful. So let's actually take her through levels, and I'll show you what the gameplay is like. So you are a sniper, and you're also always invisible. You become invisible after 3 seconds of gameplay. Oh, Malfurion, they have a Malfurion, that means I have to focus on him. And some of your skills are basically this. So there's a slow skill, which is a slowing skill, which is the only CC skill you have, the only crowd control skill that you have, which basically slows down the enemy for 2 seconds, or if you were to take a skill upgrade, it would actually make it 6 seconds, but it's not super useful. It also does a little bit of damage. There is a Holy Decay, which is actually, it creates a distraction for your enemy, and with upgrade it actually also damages the enemy, increasing your total DPS. But I usually don't use it as much, although I should. So my next skills I can choose from are Perfect Shot, which also gives my snipe skill a refund of mana, and at the same time basically makes it a little bit more useful. There's something called Remote Delivery, which basically increases my hold decay by 3 seconds, but once again not very useful, at least that's what I think. This one here gives you more ability powers, and essentially gives you a bit of a bonus to maximum power as well. And finally, Envenom it's a poison skill, which is actually something that I do enjoy doing. So I'm going to take Envenom, and this is actually a skill that I'm going to be try to use actively, because it does increase your DPS quite dramatically. Like this guy right here is going to get envenomed and then pawned with my, oh, I missed my sniper shot. And oh, come on, Rainer, I swear, Rainer, come back. Okay, Rainer is being a jerk. He's being difficult. How did I miss my sniper shot again? Come on. Alright, he ran away. Shouldn't follow him in here. Alright, so that didn't work out. So let's actually start playing a little bit more intelligently. So next upgrade you get is Explosive Round, which makes your sniper even more effective by dealing 50% of damage to enemies nearby, which is actually very useful. Here, I'll show it to you in a second. I'm going to take that probably. This one here basically gives you next attack after the ability a little bit more damage. It's not as useful, I think. This one here is actually interesting. This is an anti-armor shell, which is, what it does is, it essentially makes your shot slower, but every shot does 250% damage. So if you are one of those people that move a lot and just do one shot and then run away, this is actually a very useful skill for you. And finally, Culvert Ops is... And the Culvert Ops, what this does is actually, it charges your pinning shot skill, giving it more effectivity as long as you stay invisible, as long as you're cloaked, and basically as long as you're running around and don't attack enemies. It actually makes it more effective. Now, it's not a super useful skill unless you are using pinning shots a lot, but it may make it more useful because basically it creates a 50% slowdown effect, slow down the enemy dramatically, especially if you took that previous upgrade with that makes it 6 seconds instead of 2 seconds. It actually does make your pinning shot a lot more effective. But I'm going to take explosive shot because I do like to use snipe a lot. So basically I'm upgrading my snipe to the max. And now we get our super skill, and there's two choices here. So one of them is called triple tap, which basically focuses on one enemy, and it does 400 damage, or actually that obviously increases with level. It basically does 3 shots. It does 3 shots to one enemy, and they're targeted shots, and usually it's a charge skill, so meaning that you actually don't have, like you can't move while you're charging the shot. So it's a single target, high DPS attack. This one, however, is more useful. I'll show you why. This is a precision strike, which does this orbital cannon and AoE attack, and you don't actually have to stand still, and it does a lot of damage to everyone who is in the area of your cannon. And essentially, this is all the main skills. I actually just died by accident because I was talking too much. But basically, once you get a Precision Strike and Venom, you become a really, really high DPS character. So let me just show you what the gameplay becomes like. So I'm gonna poison this person. I'm gonna do these to these guys. And there you go. Almost one-shotted. I mean, this was actually 3 shots, but... And Venom plus Precision Strike plus my Snipe skill basically kills almost everybody. With certain exceptions. I think Diablo is actually probably one of the few exceptions that would actually survive this barrage. But yeah, she becomes a true assassin. Like, this is actually as assassin-y as it gets. And she's a pretty awesome character to play. She's a ranged assassin, so you do have to keep track of your range, and you have to avoid getting stuck in the middle of the enemies. But the fact that you can become invisible and you can sneak up on people, it actually makes it pretty awesome. Alright, so let's actually... Oh, I can actually possibly do this. Ah, so close. So close. Alright, so let's put this here. And... there we go. Double kill. Kill their healer. Now there's another skill here, Advanced Cloaking, which is actually very useful because what it does is when you're cloaked, it gives you healing and also increases your speed a little bit. So actually, this is what I usually take because it's the only heal that you get as this character. This one here basically gives your holo thingy a little bit more damage. So the decay that you create actually starts damaging people. And in the future skill, you can actually get 2 of them. So you actually get 50% more DPS if you do use a combination of these 2 skills. This one here is what I usually take because of the healing, and this here is a headshot, which basically what this does is actually, let's kill these guys.
Orbital cannon.
Alright, good. Oh, so close. Oh, there we go. Double kill. So headshot basically reduces the cooldown if you kill a hero, and Spell Shield basically decreases the damage from other heroes' abilities. But I think this is a pretty useful skill because it's the only healing that you get. So Advanced Cloaking is actually very useful. And the last skill, or not the last skill, but the penultimate skill that you get is, there's 4 choices here. There's Railgun, basically a penetration skill for my Snipe, which is what I'm gonna take. There's a Crippling Shot, which basically gives my Pinion Shot more damage as well. There's a Double Fake, which basically creates 2 holo decay creatures. Oh crap, there's 4 of them. So this is useful for if you actually upgrade your decays. Or decays, what am I saying? Decoys. Decoys is the word I'm looking for. So if you're upgrading a decoy skill, you basically want to take that.
My blessing.
And I died by accident because I wasn't paying attention again. And so there's a double decoy, which basically means that you can do 50% more DPS if you cast your decoy and if you have the decoy damage skill. And finally, there's Overdrive, which basically gives you abilities more power. They become more powerful. But I do think that Railgun is what I'm going to take because I do like to use Snipe a lot, and this gives it penetration with 50% more damage. So they're actually pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome skill. It also stuns the enemies, so you do get 1 second crowd control stun here, which basically makes it a really awesome skill to have because your sniper responds really quickly. It does have a very low cooldown, and at the same time, with the penetration and with everything else I've added to it, it gives it an AoE stun effect. So no one can really run away from you. Alright, so it's time for me to start playing and stop talking so much. So let me show you what Nova is like when you start playing as her, because she's a pretty awesome, pretty powerful character. Alright, so here it comes. There we go. One shot it, and okay, stay away from these guys. And basically, my snipe becomes really powerful. This is a very powerful skill that just became even more powerful because we can now do some crazy damage. And even her siege damage becomes ridiculous. So, check this out. I'm gonna call on the Malfurion. Almost one-shotted. I shouldn't even have used the, my art skill because it was kind of useless in this case. And we can basically just start pawning them. I'm gonna ignore the sieges and their towers. Basically, just focus on killing these guys, especially with my snipe, because my snipe is now absolutely brutal. It stuns them. It does incredible damage, and it's really hard for them to avoid being stunned. And there you go. This is basically how powerful she becomes. She essentially can kill any hero with her 3 skills: Envenom, Precision Strike, and Snipe. And it really becomes kind of too easy to play because Orbital Cannon and my Snipe skill essentially kills most of the heroes ridiculously fast. Now, this is a sniping character, so you do need to always keep your distance because she doesn't really have that much hit points, but she is a pretty awesome character to play as. The last skills you choose at level 20 are Precision Barrage, which basically gives you 2 of Precision Strikes, or gives you a triple tap if you took the other skill, a little bit, not a little bit, but basically more charges. There's a Rewind, which resets all of your active skills. And let me just kill this guy. And Bolt of Storm, which basically activates a teleport to the nearest location, which is, I think, as Nova, you don't really need because you're not a teleporter. You already have invisibility anyway. And there we go. So alright, so total kills 25. No, not as high as I could have done, but basically this is how Nova plays in a nutshell. A very awesome, very powerful burst damage character that has some crazy sniping damage. And essentially that's Nova in a nutshell, so I hope this was helpful for you if you decide to buy her. She's a pretty expensive character, but she's also very, very powerful and does have ridiculously high burst damage. And thank you for watching. This has been AnTREXon with Heroes of the Storm and Nova Ranged Assassin. Game you later, alligators. Bye bye.